You have got to hear what Charlotte Flair just said about Bianca Belair. In this video, I'm going to tell you exactly what she had to say because Charlotte Flair, well, she's been out of action due to a torn ACL, MCL, and meniscus in December of 2023 on an episode of SmackDown while working Asuka in a singles match. And it was a devastating injury. Before then, WWE had actually turned Charlotte Flair babyface. She was a babyface for a while. In fact, all of 2023 when she returned to the company shortly before and lost the SmackDown Women's title to Rhea Ripley at WrestleMania 39, etc., right? Bianca Belair, she had a long reign as champion as well before losing it. And then she took time off from the company, missed several months actually, before returning in late 2023. In fact, she was part of the women's War Games match with Charlotte Flair at Survivor Series, right? Y'all remember that match. It was Asuka, Bayley, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane taking on Becky Lynch, Belair, Flair, and Shotzi. Okay? Now, ironically, this was just one of only a handful of matches in which we've seen Charlotte Flair and Bianca Belair share the squared circle with, right? Including singles matches and tag team matches. According to Cage Match, they've only worked 3 single matches, okay? 3 one-on-one matches. 1 in NXT in 2020, 1 in October on Monday Night Raw, and then they followed up with another one on Monday Night Raw, okay? Other than that, they've worked tag team matches. Very interesting in that regard as well, right? They've worked some house show matches, but really, they worked 3 times in 2021, and then they worked a handful of matches in 2023. We got a tag team match where it was Belair and Flair working Chelsea Green and Sonya Deville on a July 28th episode of SmackDown last year. Then they followed up and they did a triple threat with Asuka, Belair, and Flair at SummerSlam. If y'all remember that match, that was a really good match. And then in August, we had Bayley and Io Sky work Belair and Flair on an episode of SmackDown, which was not a good match whatsoever. So interesting there. Then they did a trios match on a November 10th episode of SmackDown. Asuka, Belair, and Flair over Bayley, Io Sky, and Kairi Sane. Anyway, so that is their history. So they have not shared the squared circle that often. It's quite a bit. It's quite interesting that they haven't, right? Considering that Charlotte Flair is a top name for the company and Bianca Belair is one of their biggest stars. Now, obviously, Charlotte Flair, she's in that megastar spectrum, right? With your Roman Reigns and your Cody Rhodeses and your Rhea Ripleys and your Becky Lynches, right? That is where I would peg her. Belair is just slightly under that. And it's not a knock on Bianca Belair. She is phenomenal. I think she's actually a very underrated in-ring talent. Obviously, her charisma and promo skills is what people know her for, as well as her long ponytail in which she whips her opponents with. But, like, she's phenomenal in the ring. And so while speaking over WrestleMania weekend at WWE World, Charlotte Flair had this to say about Bianca Belair. I really want that one-on-one moment with Bianca. I really do. But I think first, Bianca and I's history, the athleticism, I respect her so much as a talent. I really think that Bianca's my first opponent I think that I would have a big stadium show with. Now keep in mind, because Flair is out with a torn ACL, an MCL, and a meniscus, she's going to be sidelined 9 months to a year. And that really, really sucks. And at a time where WWE is so on fire, we are missing out on some classic matches. And with the female division, the women's division being where it is today compared to it was even a year ago, is phenomenal. We got the draft coming up it's going to help the women's division even more, right? I think, like Roxanne Perez, current NXT Women's Champion, she's going to be on the main roster before we know it, and she's going to do an exceptional thing. She's so young and so talented. But when it comes to Bianca Belair and Flair, like I said, the reason that I pointed out the cage match history is because I wanted to set the stage for that exact reason. They've not had a big singles match. Yes, they've worked on television. They've worked Monday Night Raw, but outside of a few matches a year, do you really remember any matches from weekly television that often? No, you don't. Right? That's the problem with weekly television. You see it and then you forget it a couple days later. With PLEs or pay-per-view events, that's different, right? Because you have time to go out there and tell a story. And especially when you're watching at home, you don't have to deal with commercial breaks. And so you can just sit there and watch the match, and it's like, okay, it sinks in a little bit more. And while, yes, they did work a SummerSlam match last year against Asuka in a triple threat, they never had a singles PLE match before. And even to the extent of the singles match format, they have not worked since 2021. That is a match on the table that you can sell as the first time ever at a PLE, right? Or in that regard, a historical moment, a historical match, because it is. With the stadium show idea, yeah, you could do it. You could do it with the right build, right? You would definitely have to build up Bianca Belair a little bit more. You'd have to build up Charlotte Flair. You'd have to do the right angle and the right storyline and the right set of circumstances. But you could even go, okay, you want to go the negative route. Look at Elimination Chamber, right? They did it in Australia. You had Rhea Ripley, obviously hometown girl, home country girl, defended the women's world title against Nia Jax in the main event of that PLE. A same PLE in which you had 2 Elimination Chamber matches. That women's Elimination Chamber match was loaded with talent, and the men's was as well. So if you want to look at it from like a logical booking standpoint, yes, you need the right build and the right angle and the right momentum with Bianca Belair versus Charlotte Flair to headline a stadium show. But on the flip side of that, I could also say you had Nia Jax headline a PLE, and at a time where WWE is on fire, and at a time where WWE is going more international than ever. Look at their pay-per-view calendar. You could go and say, okay, we're going to have our top match as the co-headliner, and then you could do Bianca Belair or Flair. But I think it's so easy to build up Belair versus Flair that I don't think you necessarily need to be like, well, it's going to get overshadowed, but we're going to do this anyway, a la Rhea and Nia Jax. It's so good. It's so well there that just build it correctly and they will come.